Heavenly seems to be having a bigger problem than her upset with Contessa. Damien just might believe that he and Heavenly are not in a good place because she may not be listening to what he is saying to her. Welcome to Cliff Alerts. Today I will be reviewing Married to Medicine Season 9, Episode 8. Anela and Karan talking about her trip to Vegas. She reveals to him what actually occurred. So she's telling Karan exactly what happened in Vegas, about them playing Never Have I Ever, and Toya said that the thing that she's surprised about her husband is that his penis will never get any bigger, and that Toya, may have a fantasy about Karan and his private parts. They talk about her parents coming. In fact, their parents were going to arrive, and Karan said that, they got to establish some kind of house rules for her parents because they can get out of hand, particularly Anela's mom. So he just want to make sure that the time that they're there, he doesn't find somewhere else to live. He comes up with this idea about he's going to make house rules. And from personal experience, when parents are out the pocket, no kind of rules on a wall is going to keep them outside of your boundaries. The best boundaries to have with your parents is to live in a different state. And that's all I'm going to say about that. We see Toya in the kitchen and she's talking to her boys. Evidently, one of her sons, Avery, went for a sleepover and he was accused of taking someone's Xbox card. And she didn't like it. She didn't like the mothers calling her regarding the missing card. He told his parents he did not take it, and Toya was a little bit peeved about the whole situation. Eugene told his son that he's got to be careful about the people that he surrounds himself with, and that he may need to be better in choosing the friends that he currently has. We see Toya really complaining that Eugene is not around the boys a whole lot because he works so much, and that she had a problem with that. Heavenly is at Jackie's office to get her results from that test that she did a couple of episodes ago. Heavenly reveals that her mom is sick, that she was now in the hospital, and that she was deteriorating. We all have to go through it, but when a parent starts declining, it's really a stressful time. So we go back to the parents. They have arrived at Anela's house, and Karan, of course, presents these rules, and they're having a glass of wine, and he tells them that during the trial period of them living with them, there are house rules that he came up with that he wants them to follow. So they, of course, offended, or at the very least act like they're offended, and said that house rules are not for parents. And the mother goes through the house rules and she rips them up. She's just not gonna follow it. And Cohen complained that his mother-in-law at one time came into their bedroom and into the bathroom without knocking. She's either gonna see someone's butt cheeks or someone's a full frontal. She may just see a fragment of Toya's imagination. So Dr. Simone and her husband Cecil are still writing their book. They're still collecting information. So they invite Dr. Heavenly, Dr. Damon, Contessa, and Dr. Scott to their home for dinner. Dr. Simone hires a caterer and they're throwing down in the kitchen. So Heavenly makes this comment that They're there to tell Contessa and her husband how to work their marriage. Both Contessa and Dr. Scott ignored her, so they're sitting around, waiting for dinner, and Heavenly makes a comment that she and Jackie had sex. That cleared the room. Dr. Damon, Cecil, and Dr. Scott left them because they know foolishness is coming. And eventually everyone was called to the table and they sat down to have dinner. Cecil pulls out a non-disclosure agreement for everyone to sign, but of course he was clowning Dr. Heavenly simply because she has a tendency of taking personal information and putting it on her channel. Simone also asked whether the women wanted a yes man. She said Cecil is not a yes man. She can't get what she wants from him. Contessa said no, that's not her vibe, and of course Heavenly said she gets everything she wants from Dr. Damon. Simone said that Cecil was her neighbor, and that's how they got together. She loved his confidence, and he just thought she was a great catch because she was very ambitious and she wanted to go to medical school. Dr. Scott and Contessa admitted that they met in medical school. It was important for them to be debt-free because they didn't want to struggle. Dr. Damien started off and said that women don't recognize how harsh their conversation and their words are. Contessa asked Dr. Damien whether he was talking about his wife Heavenly. He said no. And Contessa responded, well, her words are not harsh because that's not who she is. Damon said that in the past they don't share their lives together simply because it can be used as a topic of conversation and a punchline when the couples get together, and he didn't like that at all. Simone asked Heavenly whether she heard what her husband was saying. She said she was not talking about her. Then Contessa interjected that he was talking about the situation that's occurring right now between Contessa and Heavenly. Contessa said that Damien was talking about what happens when people share, and that she was the culprit of taking what people say and it becomes a topic of conversation. Contessa said that she didn't understand why people would use information that she would share with them when she was at her most vulnerable state, and particularly when that person is supposed to be their friend. Meanwhile, during this interaction, Damien is trying to get his wife's attention. She's sitting directly across from him and he's trying to soothe her down because he sees that she's getting agitated. Heavenly told Contessa she should not share if she doesn't want her business to be shared by other people. And he's saying stop, and she's not listening to. And then finally, when he does get her attention, he told her that he's been trying to talk to her and she has been ignoring him, and he deems that as a lack of respect. Dr. Simone raised her eyebrows and looked down at the table because that was really the first time we've ever heard Damien articulate the stuff that he goes through with Heavenly in such a public way. Damon said that it hurts his heart. There's this upset going on between Heavenly and Contessa, and he thinks it's really ish. Contessa came back and said it's not ish, it's real. And Contessa thought that Damien was sort of lecturing her on her behavior in this scenario. She started to say that, oh, you're sticking up for your wife, you're on her side. Heavenly told Contessa if she could respect the man that she should really shut up. Contessa came back that she should shut the F up. Heavenly then came back and said she talks too effing much. Dr. Damon immediately got on his feet, he turned to Cecil and said, thank you for having me. And he got his jacket and looked like he was heading out the door. Heavenly was behind him, usually, as usual, cussing and fussing. Told her, you don't listen. You don't listen. And finally, it seemed like she got the message. She quieted down and she looked a little nervous and maybe had some level of awareness of what he was actually saying. Cecil comes out, talks to him a minute. The door is open and Damon is actually talking to Cecil about Heavenly's behavior, and I'm sure she could hear. So as they pull off to leave, you can hear Dr. Damon tell Heavenly that he does not want to talk, if she could just remain quiet. Back in the house, Contessa is telling Simone, hey, she and Damien do the same thing. He has no right to try to lecture her. Simone in her confessional said that she wished she understood that there was a whole lot of heat still going on between Heavenly and Contessa, and that it wasn't fully squashed in Vegas, and that she should never have tried to bring these two ladies together. Jackie, in the meanwhile, invited all the ladies for an O shot. What is an O shot? They remove the blood, a small amount of blood from you, the platelets, and then shoot it back into your clitoris so that your sexual experience will be enhanced. Jackie wants all the women and friends to get it. She said it's cost about $2,500 and she was giving it for free. So of course the women come through on the night of. Jackie has drinks and food. Heavenly called and said that she was not going to show up because her mom was now in hospice and she was having a rough time at that moment, so she was not going to come through. But we see the usual suspects. We see Toya, obviously. So Dr. Simone is the first one up, and she's just screaming when this needle is doing what it does. Everybody was alarmed once they heard her screaming. At least that's what it appeared to be. And Toya was saying that she doesn't want this refreshing to cause some issues with her divine V. She wanted her lady parts to be in good health and thriving. And from her understanding, this was supposed to enhance and not to hurt. So she already was voicing her concern. But anyway, the ladies put that stuff aside because the end result is what they were going for, enhanced orgasms. So, but we see Anella, her mom told her that she should not get the shot. Now, I'm not sure why Anella, a grown woman, would bring her mother to an old party. Her mother is still running the show, and that's disappointing to see. She should be the one who decides whether she takes the shot or not. Her mother should not be that person. So the ladies were hooked up. I'm sure their divine V is operating at a high level, and I'm happy for them. Anyway, that's all I have. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please click that notification button so you know when I upload new stuff. And have a wonderful day. God bless you. Blessings always. Bye-bye.